Welcome to today's BizNews Briefing, where we cover the news impacting us both locally and globally. It's Monday, the 15th of September. I'm Bronwyn Nielsen. Here are the top stories making headlines. Cyril on local government failure. Why the Thabo Mbeki Foundation withdrew from the national dialogue. Andre de Ruyter on Eskom's workforce struggles. Ashor Sarupan on Transnet's failures. Tesla's succession plan confirmed, and Victor Matfield celebrates the Boks record victory. We begin in Johannesburg, where the ANC adopted a special local government service delivery plan at the ANC's special NEC meeting over the weekend. This plan aims to address widespread service delivery challenges across the country's 257 municipalities. Ramaphosa emphasized that the plan is central to improving local government efficiency and ensuring better services for citizens. He also stated that the ANC will prioritize selecting capable, qualified candidates with strong moral integrity for the 2026 local elections.
All too regularly, corruption, mismanagement, and an outrageous lack of consequent management and accountability allow dysfunctionality to continue with impunity, thus prolonging the suffering of our people living in affected communities. Now, this must end, and this NEC must take bold decisions on how we are going to address this. This failure at local government level feeds into a narrative about a failing and declining ANC, and thus provides further ammunition for our detractors. The ANC therefore needs to be bold in taking action to resolve the dysfunctionality at local government level by dealing with this elephant of corruption and malfeasance.
In related news, ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula spoke to the media on the sidelines of the NEC meeting. Mbalula maintains that the ANC has achieved significant milestones since 1994. Here's a brief excerpt from his remarks.
Our contestation of the notion that nothing has changed in the past 30 years is based on empirical evidence that has been provided in this regard. The Stats SA 2025 Community Service Survey shows exactly in terms of empirical evidence and the research that a lot has actually been done. At the same time, service delivery along with the economy, jobs and crime and corruption remains top of the issues today that are facing South Africans in our country. The strategic setback suffered by the movement 2024 therefore calls on us to spare efforts to regain the trust of the people. We know that in terms of the core narrative of the ANC, that the people believe in these ideas that I've just spoken about, basic services and what we have done. But what has become a challenge is our battered image in terms of the vehicle, the African National Congress. And as we talk about the setback and regaining the trust, is all equally about the refurbishment of that vehicle of the ANC.
Former President Thabo Mbeki led a high-profile Conversations with Thabo Mbeki event at UNISA, where he discussed the National Development Plan, rising geopolitical tensions, and future prospects for Africa. The event attracted scholars, diplomats, and students and was covered live by national media. Mbeki also addressed the reasons behind his foundation's withdrawal from the national dialogue, providing clarity on the matter.
The foundations constituted what became called a preparatory task team to organize a national dialogue. I've never been party to that committee. Max, who is the CEO of the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, is a member of that committee. So I thought I would ask Max to come and complete an answer to this question, which was, why did the foundations leave?
The whole thing is not legally credible. So we shouldn't mislead the nation. The preparations are hopelessly underwhelming. We're not going to be able to produce the necessary agenda. We're not showing the necessary seriousness in this process. And at that point we say, but those that say they are ready, they can go ahead. But as the foundation, we've got a responsibility to protect the credibility and the legitimacy of this process. Why? Because it is just too important. It may be the only thing that saved this country from abyss.
This process is too important to fail. The youth of South Africa deserve a national dialogue whereby they have the chance to co-create solutions by their own African hands for the future. And I want to be a bit bolder than you, Max. Let us make no mistake about it. The national dialogue has been hijacked. Let me be clear. It's been hijacked. And it is our duty now as the citizens of South Africa to reclaim this national dialogue by whatever means necessary.
Michelle's the mom who traded in her Fiat 500 for this beast right here. But why the momentous move, huh?
I needed something bigger to keep up with my growing son and his many sports bags.
When you traded in your car with We Buy Cars, was it an easy conversion?
I see what you did there. The process was just so easy. I was given a tablet, had to sign, and that was it.
Basically, We Buy Cars is no mess, no faff. Okay, it was nice chatting. We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Responding to a question on Eskom's bloated workforce from fellow BizNews Investment Conference 2 speaker, economist Andre de Ruyter, former CEO of Eskom Andre de Ruyter dismissed the often cited World Bank claim that the utility was 40% overstaffed, calling it based on flawed data.
That study unfortunately used data that subsequently was proven to be incorrect in terms of the comparators that were chosen. So it excluded a large part of the distribution business, for example. So the oft-quoted statistic that Eskom should reduce its workforce by 40% is unfortunately not substantiated. What I did do, just by natural attrition, hiring freeze and so forth, when I joined Eskom, the workforce was about 53,000. By the time that I left, it was 48,000. So that was at least a start to reducing the workforce. Remuneration, I think average remuneration is now sitting at about 900,000 rand per annum, and that's average, which is very high. Now, bear in mind that Eskom is a technical organization, so it employs a lot of engineers and technically skilled people. But we have seen years of above inflation wage increases forced on not only Eskom but on business generally by unions. And that creates the incentive to reduce your labor cost by retrenchments. And ultimately, I'm not sure if labor unions think through this strategy fully when they price themselves out of a job effectively.
Deputy Finance Minister Ashor Sarupan warns that South Africa's economic engine is being strangled by collapsing ports and railways.
Ports and railways, they keep the wheels of the economy turning, and we've long prided ourselves on being the trade hub for Africa. Everything, even all the way up to the DRC, historically has been exported through Durban. We're a mining exporter, and that made us an attractive location for manufacturing, agriculture, and other investments. But that potential is being strangled by the dysfunction of the freight rail system and the port system. Put bluntly, they've become a stumbling block to growth. And if we don't fix them, we will not be able to attract investment. We have strategic ports, Cape Town, Durban, Port Elizabeth, and so on. Yet shockingly, 4 of South Africa's major ports ranked amongst the worst performing in the world last year by the World Bank. And the World Bank's Container Port Performance Index, Cape Town was dead last, 405 out of 405 ranked. Durban was 398 and Port Elizabeth was 391. And to me, this is a national embarrassment as well as a serious economic handicap. Such poor port performance means ships wait longer to load or unload, costs go up, and shippers avoid our harbors. Inefficient ports raise the cost of imports and exports, reduce our competitiveness, and ultimately hinder growth and poverty reduction down to the bare minimum. And when we look at our freight rail system, the story is similar, or perhaps worse. Our rail network under Transnet is meant to be the backbone to carry commodities such as minerals and heavy goods from inland, from our neighboring countries, to the ports. But Transnet's chronic underperformance, the era of state capture, and its failure to invest in its infrastructure stifled exports of key commodities like coal and iron ore, costing our mines and our country billions in revenue.
Turning to international business news, Tesla board chair Robin Denholm has confirmed that a succession plan is in place should CEO Elon Musk be unable to continue leading the company. Denholm revealed to Bloomberg Tech that this is the top concern among investors, assuring stakeholders that Tesla's leadership continuity is secure.
Clearly, succession planning is a very important responsibility for the board, and we take that responsibility very seriously. I meet with investors all the time, and I will say it's probably my number one question that I get in terms of consistency of feedback from investors around succession planning. And so from our perspective, we obviously have a plan if something untoward were to happen in the near term, but we also want to have and do have a longer term succession plan. Now, this plan, this compensation plan is a 10-year plan. Elon will be 64 or close to 65 by the time this plan completes. At some point, he will want to ease back. Maybe he doesn't believe that today, but at some point he may want to do that. And so we want to make sure that we have the right leaders in place to do an orderly transition at some point in the future. And so making that part of this plan was a very deliberate activity, and obviously he was part of that discussion as well. And he is part of the discussion on an ongoing basis that the board has around succession planning, the talent that we have. We have extraordinary talent inside of Tesla across many facets of the company. And so making sure that we're continuing to develop those leaders, but also bringing in talent. And, you know, that's the other part. It's in the report as well. And that Elon is a talent magnet, particularly on the engineering side, that we have extraordinary depth in the AI space, in the engineering space, in the manufacturing space, and largely because he works with them day in and day out. And so that's one of the unique aspects to this. And also one of the unique aspects to the plan is to make sure that we have that visible succession plan as we near the end of this decade-long compensation package.
Robin, what you just said was really interesting, the fact that there is a plan in place if something untoward would happen. Can you spell out what that would look like in the here and now?
No, I won't go into details here, but from my perspective, it is a responsibility the board takes very seriously. And, you know, Elon has participated in that. We have leaders in geographies that run large portions of the organisation. We have a really extensive executive team. And as I said before, Elon works very closely. He's a hands-on leader, both in the engineering spaces, but also across the board from an operational perspective as well.
Finally, Vincent Reinhardt, chief economist at BNY Investments, previewed the upcoming Federal Reserve two-day meeting. Speaking on Bloomberg's The Close, Reinhardt anticipates mixed signals from the Fed, which could have implications for financial markets in the coming weeks.
I think you can get a good idea on the tone about the way they signaled the policy action. Chair Powell essentially told us that they would ease at his speech at Jackson Hole, but he wasn't really that explicit. Why? Because probably he has colleagues who are restive. And that suggests to me that it'll be a mixed message, a hawkish form of cut. With they cut the funds rate 25 basis points, but they signal with the summary of economic projections that at least some of them are not that comfortable with cutting much more.
Well, you talk about that restiveness. I have to imagine one of the factors there is that you have folks in the room who are being considered to be the next Fed chief, Vincent, and I wish I could be a fly on the wall, but it should make for a really interesting conversation.
Bad news is, been to 100 FOMC meetings or more. They're really kind of boring. It's the stuff on the sidelines that you'd probably be more interested in. But for the meeting itself, I think the core issue is you're exactly right. The people writing down their forecast and the summary of economic projections are doing it for a lot of reasons and not necessarily about forecasting the economy. They're signaling about their availability, if they are headed in the same direction as President Trump wants, i.e. much lower rates. They might, some of them also, alternatively, might be signaling about what they think an appropriate conservative central banker should do. That means they'll be signaling high rates. That suggests to me that there's going to be a very wide dispersion in the dot plot this time around in the summary of economic projections.
After the Springboks' record 43-10 demolition of the All Blacks, Victor Matfield phoned Sir John Cohen for some after-match banter. A gracious but gutted JK admitted he felt physically sick, praising the Boks' dominance in the scrum, line-out and high ball.
Oh, brother, they laat me staan. Hello, guys. Hello?
Mate.
Anyone there?
Yeah, no, I'm here, mate. I'm here. Congratulations,
Are you all right?
brother. You smashed us.
Will you pull through?
No, I'm sick. I feel physically sick, mate. How do you think I feel? Like I want to vomit.
What a game.
You smashed us.
What did you do wrong, do you think?
Well, we didn't come out at half time. We just sent someone else out at half time. So, like, for me, mate, like, your scrum dominated us. Your line-out dominated us. We couldn't catch the high ball. The thing, like, you played an expansive game. I thought we had you in the first half because I thought you weren't going to be able to keep with the pace because I thought we were really good for 40 minutes. But you guys hung in the critical times. I mean, the intercept by Colbert was unbelievable. I thought you cheated a wee bit at times, like you slowed it down at times at the right time, and I thought the ref was soft on that.
Cheated? Come on.
Yeah. No, he was.
It's only the ref that kept you in the game in the first half.
And another thing, like, he can't call two captains together and say, stop doing stuff. He's just got to penalise, right? But besides that, you guys totally dominate us. You should be incredibly proud because I think, I thought that the selection was panicked, but that was a great combination of power and flair. So I don't have anything, mate, to be fair.
That brings us to the end of today's BizNews Briefing. We'll be back tomorrow with more context on the global and local front. Thanks as always for joining us.